Do you think Rick made a mistake? Because down the stretch, I think we had like 3 Halley cross, step back, air ball threes. Down
Yeah,
the stretch, was Rick at fault for not making sure Pascal get the ball? Because
absolutely,
I think Pascal
absolutely.
is the guy when you need to get a great look. Pascal's the guy to get you the look.
Mm-hmm.
And was he
Mm-hmm.
bad down the stretch and not
Mm-hmm.
or Pascal got a touch?
I think so, but I do think too it's a kind of let your team play too, because you got to think about they offense, it better than I do. It's just free flow. Like they ain't really geared. It's unless Pascal they giving it to him on that chopper wing area right there. I call it chopper wing in between the slot and the wing in that area right there. Long if he getting it there where he able to maneuver top of the key in the trail position or right there in the mid block, if you get him the ball in them 3 spots, get out the way, let him go to work, make sure we spacing. But outside of that, it's spacing the floor. We hit, we cutting off here, we in our open action, we in our rip action. It's a lot of movement, and that's the base of the offense. So I think he's smart enough and don't give a damn enough to say I'm gonna let my team play.
Mm-hmm.
If I have to go to that, to them dirt spots, I go to it if I have to, meaning where OKC going to those dirt spots before they have to run action, which they ain't even running. They ain't running no action. OKC just getting downhill, putting the ball in guys' hands, you know, looking for some overhill, kicking out, trying to make some threes and trying to get the spots. But Indiana more so they relying on their action and their movement, because if you stand still on OKC and try to go to work, you gonna have some trouble. And Indiana don't have enough guys that on the elite level that can just go get buckets.
Mm-hmm.
So outside of Pascal,
Yeah.
so they got to rely on movement, because if if you let OKC just load up and get back and be in position, oh, you in trouble. That's why they getting it out. That's why he had 5 steals last game, because they don't care. We getting it out. We not letting y'all get back and setting up. Like
Exactly.
we getting that ball down the court. We'll live with those steals.
Yep.
But we getting that ball out.
Mm-hmm.
0.1 second. Touched it out of there, we gone. And they getting that ball across half court in 3 seconds.
Yes, they
Every
are.
single possession.
Yeah.
Every single possession. And the more they do that, the more often they get that ball across half court in 3 seconds. Now it's creating a flow and a shift in defense. You already created your advantage.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get that ball up more than 5 seconds with a defense, every single one on the touch the 3-point line, you in trouble.
Facts. What it also does is it create natural mismatches, because we're all taught in transition you don't have a man. In the NBA, the first rule in transition is you don't have a man. Like, think that you just going to run to your man in transition. The other team, if your rules in the NBA are you go get your man every time in transition,
You in trouble.
the team will get a layup every possession. If push the ball. So that's the number one rule in the NBA. You don't have a man in transition. And so what it's doing also is it's naturally creating these mismatches. It's naturally creating cross matches to where you, you know,
Toppin gonna have a guard on because he
exactly,
running. Man,
exactly,
Toppin out there like he on the track, man.
exactly.
He running. And next thing you know, they pushing it down. He already in the seal because the only person can get back with him is a guard.
Yep, exactly. And you look at like Hallie got maybe 3 layups in the third quarter going to his right hand stretch out layups. None of them were on Lou Dort. I think one of them was on the Chet. Chet was behind.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Shea was on him, and that's because they're pushing the ball so fast. You just got to get matched up with who's ever the closest man, and that is to their advantage, and they take that advantage. Unfortunately, when the game slow down, you have to
Yes.
that we got to get that ball to Pascal. He's the only
Yep.
person on Indiana's team that can create a double team.
That's
And
it.
create the double team, you kick it out, and now you got the first domino to fall. Everything else can just roll.
Yep. Exactly. And that's what they missing. And that's what all they got it. He just didn't go to it. So to go back to what you said, I bet he at the career right now or probably in the office right now thinking about that stuff.
Wow.
Like, God, dog.
Yep.
They understand that. Man, it's real. It's real. We've been in the moments. You know what I mean? So you live with some. You go back to the room and you say, man,
No
you start
sleep.
kicking. You start kicking yourself.
No sleep.
Things you're just playing it all back, playing it all back. Wish you can do it all over again, but you can't. You got to move on to the next.
I too.
It's
So
2-2.
yes, it is.
It's 2-2, man.